Good afternoon and welcome. This is Spotlight Africa and we're coming to you live from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. My name is Uyai Imam. Today on Spotlight Africa, European African leaders gather in Angola for European Union African Union Summit. China pledges to work more closely with South Africa on range of issues. United States government considers ending deportation protections for Somalis. Sudan's army chief rejects US-led ceasefire proposal as the worst yet. In other news, Cameroon opposition leader flees to Gambia after a contested election. These stories are all just on Spotlight Africa. Stay with us. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. First on Spotlight Africa, the 7th Annual European Union African Union Summit opened in Angola on Monday under the theme Promoting Peace and Prosperity Through Effective Multilateralism. The two-day event marks 25 years of EU-AU partnership and 50 years of independence for Angola and other African nations. It is co-chaired by Angolan President João Lourenço and the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa. The EU is also represented by the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and AU by His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the Chair of the African Union Commission. The EU is Africa's leading trade partner, but relations have been strained by the growing influence of Russia, China, and the US. Meanwhile, China has pledged to work more closely with South Africa to deepen mutual political trust between the two countries. Premier Li Qiang made the comments after meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa in Johannesburg ahead of the G20 summit. He passed on cordial greetings from Chinese President Xi Jinping, noting the long-standing strong friendship between the two countries. Li said Beijing was willing to work with Pretoria to safeguard the multilateral trading system and promote the early implementation of zero-tariff treatment for South African goods. He said it was ready to expand cooperation across a wide range of fields to better promote the common development of both countries and Africa as a whole. This includes leveraging their complementary advantages in resources and economic structure and deepening cooperation in mining and infrastructure construction. The auto industry, energy and artificial intelligence sectors were also mentioned, as well as science and technology, innovation, including satellite navigation. Still on the G20, with a strike of the symbolic gavel, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has closed the first G20 summit to be held on the African continent. The gathering broke with tradition by issuing a leader's declaration on the opening day of talks, despite fierce opposition from the United States. Ramaphosa said the declaration from the summit reflects a renewed commitment to multilateral cooperation. In his closing speech, Ramaphosa noted that the summit had taken place at a crucial time as calls around the world grew louder for progress on the imperatives of today. He added that the declaration showed that their shared goals outweighed their differences and is a commitment for concrete actions to improve the lives of people all over the world. In another development, United States Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem said on the federal government's plans to evaluate temporary protected status (TPS) for people for Somalia. TPS is the legal safeguard against deportation for immigrants from certain countries. In a Truth Social post late Friday, President Donald Trump said he would immediately strip Somali residents in Minnesota of temporary protected status. Trump's pledge is triggering fear in the state's deeply rooted Somali community, the largest in the country, along with doubts about whether the White House has the legal authority to enact the directive as described. The announcement drew immediate pushback from some state leaders and immigration experts. In Sudan, the army chief has rejected a ceasefire proposal provided by U.S.-led mediators as the worst yet in a blow to efforts to stop a devastating war that has gripped the country for over 30 months. In a video comment released by the military late Sunday, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan said the proposal was unacceptable, accusing the mediators of being biased in their efforts to end the war. The military leader also criticized the United States advisor for African Affairs, Massad Boulos, accusing him of wanting to impose conditions on the Sudanese army, known as the Quad. The mediators have been trying for over 2 years to bring an end to the fighting and re-establish a path to democratic transition, which was hampered by a military coup in 2021. They are comprised of the U.S., Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates. This month, United States President Donald Trump said that he plans to put greater attention on helping find an end to Sudan's war after being urged to take action by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman during his visit to the White House. In his comments, al-Burhan also took aim at the UAE. He said that since the Quad includes the Gulf country as a member, the mediation group was not innocent of responsibility, especially since the entire world has witnessed the UAE's support for the rebels against the Sudanese state. Elsewhere, Gambia said it was temporarily hosting Cameroonian opposition leader Issa Chiroma Bakari after a disputed election in his country saw longtime President Paul Biya win an 8th term, triggering deadly protest. Gambia's Ministry of Information said in a statement that Chiroma arrived in the small West African country on November 7 and is being hosted purely on humanitarian grounds and for the purpose of ensuring his safety. The statement added that Gambia was working with regional partners like Nigeria to support a peaceful and negotiated outcome to the post-election tension in Cameroon. Chiroma's spokesperson Ali Nkom confirmed the opposition leader's presence in Gambia in a statement on Sunday. Cameroon's opposition has contested the results of the October 12 election that secured the victory for Biya, the world's oldest president at 92. His election rival Chiroma claims to have won and has called on Cameroonians to reject the official result. Cameroon's government has said it plans to initiate legal proceedings against Chiroma for his repeated calls for insurrection. Deadly protests erupted in key opposition strongholds, including the economic hub, Douala, and in northern cities like Mauda, Gara, after the election results were announced. Egyptians vote in second phase of parliamentary elections. Stay tuned for details of this and more in a moment. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. It's still Spotlight Africa. We head down to South Africa, where one of the daughters of Jacob Zuma, South Africa's former president, has filed a criminal complaint against her sister, accusing her of recruiting men from South Africa to fight in the Russia-Ukraine war. Nkosazana Zuma Nkumbi alleged that Duduzile Zumba Zamdula, who serves as a member of parliament, another Nkosazana Zuma Mikombi alleged that Duzile Zuma Samdula, who serves as member of parliament, and two others tricked 17 men into fighting for Russian mercenaries. The men were told they were traveling to Russia to train as bodyguards for Jacob Zuma's political party, Mokzonto Wesiwe. Zuma Mikombi's statement says the police say they are investigating the matter, while Zuma Zamdula, aged 43, has not responded to requests for comment. Recall that South Africa's government previously said it had received distress calls from 17 citizens who had joined mercenary forces in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Meanwhile, Catholic Pope Leo XIV has called for the immediate release of students and priests kidnapped in recent days in Nigeria and Cameroon. Speaking in St. Peter's Square, the Pope said he had learned with immense sadness the news of the kidnappings of priests, faithful and students. He appealed for their immediate release, calling on the competent authorities to take appropriate and timely decisions to secure their liberation. The Pope therefore urged everyone to pray that churches and schools might never be the target of violence. In a separate development, Egyptians yesterday voted in the second phase of parliamentary elections in 13 governorates, including Cairo and Suez. Reports say more than 34 million people were eligible to vote in the second phase, as the first stage of voting took place on the 10th and 11th of November in 14 provinces. According to reports, a total of 568 seats in the lower chamber are vacant, and with over 2,500 candidates running as independents for half the seats. The other half is reserved for political parties, while LCC will name 28 members, bringing the total number to 596. According to the Egyptian presidency, the electoral process is being monitored by various international observers, including the Arab League and the African Union. A volcano in northern Ethiopia erupted on Sunday for the first time in nearly 12,000 years, sending ash plumes up to 14 kilometers into the sky and across the Red Sea toward Yemen and Oman. The Haile Gubi volcano in the Afar region of Ethiopia erupted for several hours on Sunday, leaving the neighboring village of Afdera covered in dust. Local Administrator Mohammed Said said there were no casualties, but he feared the eruption's economic implications for the local community of livestock herders. The Afar region is prone to earthquakes, and resident Ahmed Adebla said he heard a loud sound and what he described as a shock wave. And that's all we're able to bring to you at this time, bringing you stories all around the continent. This has been put together by Spectrum Television. Do well to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. Spotlight Africa, we are MM. Good afternoon.